You know, when you think about the human body, it's easy to picture it as just a collection of different parts. But it's so much more than that. It's this incredibly intricate, perfectly timed performance, a real symphony of systems all working in perfect harmony. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how this amazing biological orchestra really works.
And that brings us to this massive question, right? I mean, think about it. You're made of something like 37 trillion individual cells. So how on earth do they all coordinate to create, well, you? How does this huge, bustling city of cells stay powered up, clean, and organized every single second of every single day?
Well, the secret to understanding this whole massive operation is actually to zoom way, way in and just focus on the needs of one single cell. Because just like us, a cell needs a few basic things. It needs to bring in fuel, it needs to get oxygen to burn that fuel, it has to get rid of its waste, and it needs a set of instructions to tell it what to do.
All right, so let's tackle that first big need, fuel. We're about to meet the body's dedicated life support crew. These are the systems that are all about gathering and delivering the essential resources that every single one of your cells is crying out for. And it all kicks off with whatever you last ate. Your digestive system is an absolute master of taking things apart. First up, you've got the brute force method. That's the mechanical digestion from chewing and stomach churning that breaks food into smaller bits. Then the chemical team takes over, with enzymes that snip those big, complex molecules into tiny little usable pieces, like glucose and amino acids, that are finally small enough to be absorbed.
Now, once those nutrients are absorbed, they don't just get dumped into your system willy-nilly. Nope. Their very first stop is the liver. And you could think of the liver as the body's master chemist and its main quality control center all in one. It processes all the good stuff, detoxifies anything harmful, and even makes bile to help with fat digestion. It's without a doubt a critical hub in the whole operation.
Okay, so we've got the fuel sorted out. But here's the thing. That fuel is pretty much useless without a spark. And for our cells, that spark is oxygen. To get it, we need to turn to our respiratory system.
You know, the magic of breathing really just boils down to a super simple rule of physics. When you take a breath in, your lungs fill up with air that's packed with oxygen. It's a high-pressure zone for oxygen. At the same time, the blood showing up at your lungs has just come from the body, so it's low on oxygen. So naturally, oxygen just moves from that high-pressure area in your lungs across a super thin membrane and straight into your bloodstream. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's what keeps us all going.
All right, so our cells have their fuel, they have their oxygen, and they are working hard. And you know what comes with hard work? Trash. All this activity creates waste products, and that trash has got to go somewhere. This is a job for the body's ultimate filtration and recycling plant, the urinary system.
And when you zoom right into the kidney, the real MVP, the absolute workhorse, is this tiny little filtering unit called the nephron. And get this, you have over 1 million of them in each kidney. They are the true unsung heroes of your body's waste management team, just tirelessly cleaning your blood 24/7.
And the amount of work they do, it's just mind-boggling. Your kidneys filter about 125 milliliters of blood every single minute. To put that in perspective, that adds up to 180 liters a day. Your entire blood supply gets a full cleaning about 60 times every single day. This incredible rate is what lets your body constantly fine-tune its internal environment, keeping everything in perfect balance.
And the way they do all this is with a brilliantly efficient 3-step process. First up, filtration. Basically, a bunch of water and small stuff gets squeezed out of the blood. Then step 2 is reabsorption. The body's like, whoa, wait a minute, I need that stuff back, and it grabs all the good bits it wants to keep, like glucose and water. And finally, secretion. This is where any leftover junk gets actively booted out into the filtrate. And that stuff is what becomes urine.
Okay, let's recap. We've got fuel delivery, oxygen supply, and a waste management system all up and running. Great. But who's in charge here? How do they all know what to do, when to do it, and how to work together? Well, we need a command center, a high-speed communications network. We need mission control.
The absolute magic of the nervous system isn't just in the individual cells, but in how they're all connected. At the most basic level of that connection is this little junction called a synapse. It's just a tiny, tiny gap where the message jumps from one neuron to the next. And your brain alone could have as many as a quadrillion of these. It is by far the most complex network we know of. And what's really cool is that there isn't just one way for these neurons to talk to each other. You've got chemical synapses. Think of these as sending a detailed text message. It's precise, it carries a lot of information, but it takes a moment. And then you have electrical synapses. These are more like a direct hardwired connection. Bam, the signal is instantaneous, perfect for things that need to be perfectly synchronized, like your heartbeat.
So we've looked at all the different sections of our orchestra, right? The fueling, the breathing, the cleaning, the communicating. They're all playing their parts perfectly. But the real showstopper, the grand finale, isn't just about keeping this one performance going. It's about making sure the whole symphony itself can play on for generations to come.
You see, keeping yourself alive day to day, that's just Act 1. The truly ultimate act of coordination, the one thing that brings everything we've talked about together in the most profound way, is creating a whole new life. I mean, the whole process is just a miracle of biological engineering. It's this incredible complex dance of events, from fertilization all the way through 9 months of gestation to birth. And just think about it. To make it happen, the digestive system has to provide nutrients for 2, the respiratory system has to deliver enough oxygen, the urinary system manages waste for 2, and the nervous system is coordinating the whole thing with perfect hormonal timing.
And so, there you have it. We've gone from the basic needs of just one tiny cell all the way up to the continuation of our entire species. Every single system, fueling, breathing, cleaning, and communicating, is so deeply woven together. Not a single one could function without all the others. It truly is a symphony of systems, a perfectly coordinated masterpiece of biology.
And the most amazing part? All of this entire unbelievably complex performance is happening inside you, right this very second, without you even having to think about it. Which kind of leaves us with one last thought. If your body is the orchestra, playing this beautiful symphony of life around the clock, what's your role as its conductor?